Hey, thanks for tuning in to Nia's Perspectives. Before you do anything, stop, hit that like and subscribe button. If you want me to keep bringing you all these great tips and informations, if you have something you want me to talk about or add a video about it to my channel, drop that down in the comments. We're going to talk today about why are you spending money? Tune in. Hello. Push that down. Hello. Happy Friday. Oh. Go do my check. Oh, yep, I already see myself on there. How are you all doing? Today's session is going to be pretty nice. I got a chance to look at the, I previewed my courses now that I'm getting a lot more videos up in there. And I previewed my courses and it is looking really good to me, you guys, looking really good. So still having my video editing issue. I should get my friend's computer this weekend. Oh, okay. They're introducing the bill to make Juneteenth a federal holiday. Oh, yes. We will see if it gets passed or not. We shall see. Da, 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 da. But yeah. Give you some little time for people to come in. It's Father's Day this weekend. It's Juneteenth. I don't have much plans. I will be in the house. The only thing I will be out doing is I will be driving around to look at properties. I will be doing that. That I will be doing. That's about it. And then working on my courses, trying to get my editing done, get my courses up in the portal. Because next week I have to work on getting my stuff all linked and set up. So I want to do that at some point. Some people are funny. But yeah. Oh, did you hear that dog? Okay, we can get started. Let me just double check that I can be heard because I saw the video was on there. I normally can be heard, but I don't know. The one time I don't check is going to be the time, go back to the top. The one time that I don't is going to be the time that you can't hear me. I normally can be heard, but I don't know. Okay, there we go. So let's go ahead and get started. Go ahead and get started. So household rules. This video will be up for a week. I know I have a video that I need to take down from last week now. Please share, comment, not share, sorry. Please, I meant like share your thoughts, share feedback, not share it because it's a private group. So I put it in here on purpose as opposed to doing it on my page because my page has about 1,300 people. And And I share a lot of tips and stuff there, but I share more in the group than I share there. But I don't want it like spread to the masses. I basically use the group as my beta group because I wanted to give you all a chance to make suggestions and think about what they said, things like that. So, what was I going to say? What else? What else? What else? If you had an aha moment, anything is helpful in this, please make sure you share it in the group. If you applied anything that I've said and you tried it and it worked, please share that in the group. I want to hear it. And you just never know who else is going through it. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Today's module, we are talking about why are you spending? It's not really like, it's not what you think. Just wait, listen to it. So go ahead and get started. Okay, so need to give space between it. Welcome. This is the second lesson of the third module. You're here to curb your spending, and we're going to take a deep dive into spending habits. This lesson specifically focuses on finding out why you are spending. So we're going to go through the top 5 reasons people spend money. We're going to discuss the anatomy of a habit, get down to the root of your habits, isolate the basically trigger. Then we're going to find the reward, which basically means that we're going to find what you reward yourself with. And then we're going to evaluate emotional triggers and discuss self-rewarding behavior. So you'll understand that those terms a little bit more as I go on through this lesson. And so pretty much I gave you a really nice moment that, to reflect and to basically, give yourself positive affirmations and to get yourself and get your head in the game again. I wanted to take that moment because it's important to remember that you are this journey. So I always wanted to make sure that even throughout the different lessons, we come back and we don't forget about ourselves and we don't get so caught up on our financial goals or any goals for that matter that we forget about us and who we are. So you might be side-eyeing me after this spending module, but it's important to look at those bad spending habits in order to make a correction to them. So please don't shoot the messenger. I just want my students to win, and that's really what it boils down to. I'm here for you, and I want you to win. And I don't want to come on here and just give basic, ask yourself, do I need it? Like, I don't want to give that basic information. I wanted to come on here and give, look deeper into it because I'm really want to help people with spending. I feel like it's a big issue. It's something that a lot of us struggle with. So it's important to take that moment and spend on it. So we're going to explore the top 5 reasons why people spend. And I included a couple bonuses. Well, one bonus. And I recognize this in my own clients and my own followers. And as I discuss and have these different discussions with people when they may send me an inbox about something that I posted on my page that really resonated with them or something that was very beneficial for them. So I decided to add the extra one. So the first one is emotional responses. Sometimes people spend because it's an emotion attached to it. Maybe they're sad and the spending makes them feel better, or maybe they're happy and they want to celebrate, so they want to go spend. And they feel like it, as retail therapy, as they call it. And so they feel like it's beneficial for them and it makes them feel happy. And for a temporary moment, the feeling is gone, the whatever they were sad about. A lot of people spend because they're trying to live above their means or keep up with the Joneses, as a lot say, and they're spending money just to try to impress other people, and they're spending money on big expensive things that maybe their income does not really support. They spend money because it's a really good sale or an irresistible offer that they just can't refuse, so they spend the money. They spend money for self-rewarding behavior, which we'll discuss a little bit later, which is basically telling yourself, I deserve this. They spend money because they plan to return it, but it doesn't always work out that way. So maybe you purchase something and you plan to return it. Or for instance, this just happened to my friend this week. She purchased some items of clothing that she purchased. And when she purchased the first one, it didn't fit her. And that's sometimes the issue with online shopping. Well, she wanted another one, but she wants it for a specific event. So she purchased the second one in the right size with the intention on returning the first. Now, I'm going to try to remind her to make sure that she returns the first one. But sometimes we do that and then we never get to the point of returning it. And now we have two of the same things and pretty much wasted money. Like, you want to see some wasted money, look in your closet for things with tags on it that you bought and that you've had a year, 2 years, 3 years that you have never worn. That right there is money. That's pretty much money in your closet. So, and the bonus is because you plan to pay it back. Now, this is a big one that people spend. They spend a lot of times on their credit cards and they say, oh, well, I'm going to purchase this now on my card and then the next time I'll get paid, I'll just put that extra money back. But a lot of times what happens is life arrives when that next payment comes. When that next paycheck comes, life has happened and life arrived along with that paycheck. And now you can't pay it back. So all you're doing is you're building up your debt. So these are things that you want to think about, just some of the ways and reasons that people spend money. At the end of the day, shopping is a habit. Now, I'm not talking about grocery shopping or, school shopping for your children or things like that. I'm saying shopping when you're just shopping to be shopping. That's a habit. It's not a necessity. And now I also want to say that a lot of the information that I'm speaking on as regards to habit, I got the idea from Charles Duhigg's book. The name of the book is The Power of Habit. If you want to purchase that book, feel free to purchase it. I'm not like endorsing it or advising you to purchase it or saying it's a requirement of this class or anything like that. But that's where I did my research about habits. And we're going to focus on the rules for understanding compulsive spending habits purposes, but you really can apply this to any type of habit. You can apply it from some food addictions, or you can also apply it to nail biting. I realize that some food addictions, they do put things specifically in the food to make your body crave it, but that's a whole nother course. That's not in the personal finance realm, but it also sometimes it's forms of habit that you make. Maybe you stop by this store every day, so that's a habit. So it's important to think about the background and the reason for the habit. So there are 3 parts to a habit. The first part is the cue. The cue is the trigger. And that's why I said you'll explain a little bit more of those concepts that I discussed when I was just giving the intro. So the first part is the cue. The cue is the trigger. This is what makes you start spending. This is what kicks it off. The second part is the routine. And this is the trigger for the habit. It makes you spend money. Okay. The reward, and this is what you get out of the habit. It's basically, it's the need. It's the consciously or unconsciously. You might not realize it, but you have this need that you're trying to fulfill. That need you're trying to fulfill is your reward. So I'm going to give an example just to make it more plain. So let's just say a cue is, you plan to get together with your friends. The routine that you normally do when you get together with your friends, you go get an expensive dinner. And the reward is you get to have a good time and you have a good meal. But then my question is, would you have had a worse of time if you didn't have an expensive dinner? Like if these were your friends and you guys were getting together, and especially now you might not have seen each other for a while, would you have had less of a time if you chose a more economical dinner location? Or if you chose to go to one of your all houses, would you have had less of a better time? No, you probably would have had the same wonderful time, because that's why they're your friends, because you all get along well and you enjoy each other's time. So, but normally it's a common if you get together with friends, you choose different events and it's like, oh, let's try this new restaurant. And that's fine and that's good. But to do it constantly or constantly repeat that process, that's what causes a spending habit. And that causes you to bust your budget and it delays you reaching your goals and things like that. So it's very important to start being mindful of habits like those and being mindful of how they affect your overall plan for your finances. I know we've heard it all the time, and I know we've discussed this, and you've probably heard this is probably one of the most cliche sayings when it comes to habits, but the first step is admitting that you have a problem. If you don't admit that you have a spending habit and you don't admit that you're having issues with spending, then it's going to be really hard to work through those issues. As I said in the first module, I need you to come with an open mind, open to new ideas, and open to the fact that you may not be getting everything right currently. So we've analyzed what your spending habits are in the last session. For this lesson, we're going to take a deeper look at why you spend. We're going to learn some different tricks to responsibly manage your money and improve your spending habits. And then we're going to try to pay attention and determine what you spend on the most. So you look through your needs and wants and you've decided, okay, these are my wants, these are my needs, and you cut it. You've looked through your statements and realized what you spend on it. But we're going to take a even deeper dive into those things. So one of the things I want you to do is look at the days and times when you spend most of your money. Like most of your impulsive buys, most of your discretionary purchases, when do you normally make those payments or rather purchases? So that's one thing I want you to look at. Do you do it right after you get off work? Is that something you do? Like you get off work and you go stop by a certain store and you buy things that you don't really need? Do you do it on the weekends? Like maybe because you're not as occupied and you have more free time. These are the things that I want you to look at and decide. Do you wear your heart in your wallet? I discussed that in my 7 expensive money habits video. Do you wear your heart in your wallet? Because some people do. Then are you trying to make up for a broke childhood? Because sometimes you have individuals like myself, well, maybe we didn't have much when we were younger and you always felt like you wanted things, but you weren't able to get the things that you want. So now that you get older and you feel like, oh, well, I have a decent income, I've worked hard for this income. So you go and buy things just because you know that you can buy them, but this ends up putting you in a vicious cycle of spending. And that's not really the route that you want to go. That's why you're here, because we want to change that. So what you want to try to do is try to fill that void in your life, because sometimes that's what it really boils down to. You want to be fulfilled and you're trying to fulfill yourself with receipts. So that's the first step to breaking a habit. We're going to discuss the different steps to breaking a habit. And that's why I wanted you to ask yourself all of those questions, because that's the first step. Determining the root. You want to identify what is the root of it. Why are you spending? And we'll discuss it a little bit more later. But right now we're just focusing on what are the ways that you break a habit. So the second step in the process for breaking a habit is you want to isolate the cue. Now, remember, the cue is the trigger that started all of this in the first place. Like I said, my example, the cue was that you plan to have an outing with your friends. So when you are thinking of what normally kicks this off, is this just a regular conversation that you're having with friends? Is it maybe an outing or like now probably a Zoom meeting? I'm pretty sure COVID is going to be the reason why a lot of people get with their friends because they haven't seen them in a long time. Things like that. Maybe when you have that original thought, because yes, okay, you have this conversation with your friends on Zoom. Yes, you have this conversation on the phone, but maybe that's not where the original thought came. Did that original thought come to you while maybe you were driving past a store or you were driving past a restaurant? And you're like, oh, I want to taste that. I've never eaten there before. And then the next time you were talking to your friends and your friends came up with like, oh, we need to get together. You was like, oh, let's try this restaurant, because that's something that was already in your mind. So I want you to ask yourself and think about that. I want you to think about, where are you when you normally have these grand epiphanies of expenses? Where are you? Like, what time of day is it? Is it the afternoon? Is it the weekend? Like, these are the type of things I want you to start thinking about and paying attention to. your emotional state. How are you feeling? Did you have a good day at work that day? You have a bad day at work? Talking to your boo thing, he pissed you off that day. What is it that brought on that feeling that you needed to spend? You see what I'm saying? So that's the type of things I want you to start thinking about and seeing how I can correct my spending, because you have to start gradually. You have to start slow. It might not be something that you can just do and say, oh, well, tomorrow I'm not going to spend anymore. I mean, yes, people have different things that they do to help with spending. And those things, I'm not discouraging you or saying don't try them, because I'm going to suggest you some of them as well. But I feel like you need to, if you're constantly having an issue with spending, that's not the only way to get to the root of your issue. And that's not the only reason to help you curb your spending. You got to look deeper. If it's somebody else that influences you, we did speak in the last session about influences and how other people might influence your spending choices and spending habits. So think about it. Is somebody else always around you whenever you spend this extra money? I know we can't, we can include our children, because sometimes it's important to teach our children that we can't buy everything they ask for. Like, it's okay to tell them no. So sometimes it might be your children who might be the person that's influencing you and causing you to go over budget, because you take them to the grocery store and then they want to throw everything in the cart, and then you get to the register and it's already in the cart. Well, guess what? It's okay to take it out and tell the cashier, I don't want that. I don't even know how they got in my cart. Not only that, that's good to do, because it also teaches them, oh, okay, well, I have to ask. You can't just throw things in the cart, because they're slick. They know by the time you get to the register that you're just going to say, oh, okay, don't worry about it. Just ring it up. So sometimes that might be what's breaking it. And that's an important time to start teaching them about budgets, to understand that I can't just get everything you want, because I have certain guidelines that I'm trying to follow so I can create a better life for us. You see what I'm saying? Then you have to think, what did you do right before you did that? Like I say, think about what kind of day you had at work. Think about what kind of conversations you had. Did anybody piss you off that day? Did somebody make you mad, happy? Are you feeling sad? Did you wake up that day just, are you at the point where you are just in an irritable mood? Think about all of those aspects to decide, what were they? How did they affect your spending? And if you start to log it, I guess you could say, and pay attention, you might find out that there's some correlation to how you were feeling and how you spent that day. So this is one of the things you have to do, to dig and listen to yourself, listen to your habits, listen to what you do, so you can isolate what's the trigger that's causing you to go into this spending. So the last step in the process is you want to look for rewards. Once you've identified what triggers it, you've identified what triggers the spending, you've identified the actual routine of it, you've thought about what affects it, and you've isolated, what causes that trigger. Then you want to look for the rewards, identify it, ask yourself, why do you spend money? What are you spending money on? Are you spending money because you want to buy things to make you happy? Are you spending money because, this is not including things that you need. We're talking about spending. The spending that I'm talking about, you usually have buyer's remorse about sometimes. And you think back, here you go. The spending I'm talking about is the spending you have that when you're actually low on funds, you think back to this item and you tell yourself, man, why did I buy that? And you look at the item that you bought that you are now not using, and you tell the item, like it can hear you, man, if I wouldn't have bought you, I can use that $50 right now, or I can use that $100 right now. I only know this, and I'm only saying this because this is something that I used to do myself. And this is something that I would do. I would spend too much money and buy things. And then when I became low on funds, then I would literally be like, man, I can use the money I spent on that right about now. So that's the type of spending that I'm referring to. That's the type of purchases that I'm referring to when I'm asking you all of these questions. And just a FYI, the homework for this lesson is literally, I'm going to put all of these questions in I'm probably going to put it in a Microsoft Word document, and that will be your only homework for this specific lesson. And it's just basically going to be space for you to fill out all of these questions, and you answer them to help you process your spending and decide. If you don't have a serious spending issue, then you can decide to work on this or not, but I would encourage you to at least go through it, because sometimes you might not think that you have a problem and then you really have a problem. Like my experience with eating, when I started to actually log my calories, I had been telling people all the time, oh, I don't really eat that bad. I don't understand why I can't lose weight. And then I started logging my calories, and that was not the case. Let's just say that. So think about these questions when you are trying to look for rewards. You have to ask yourself, why do I spend money? Like I said, you're going to ask yourself, how does it make you feel when you spend the money? Like, if it makes you happy, how long does it make you happy? Once you become happy when you spend the money, do you stay happy? What benefit do you get out of it? You know, what benefit do you get out of it once you've spent this money? Then what craving do you have that the routine satisfies? What craving is it that you have? Is it like with your friends? Is it that you just miss the camaraderie? You miss being able to hang with your girls, and you want to hang out and you have fun and you can laugh and talk? Because if that's the only thing you're looking to satisfy, then guess what? You can satisfy that other ways than an expensive dinner. So this is just things to think about. So those are the 3 steps in the process to working on figuring out your habits and kicking a habit. Okay. So the first step, I'm gonna go over it again, is determining the root and identifying what your routine is. What is the routine that you do that causes you to constantly spend money that you shouldn't spend? Secondly, you want to isolate the cue. The cue again is the trigger. What is it that triggers you to spend? You want to think about that. Where are you? When does it happen? Is it after work? Is it before work? Is it after you interact with a certain person? Do you just immediately go online and start shopping? Things like that you want to identify. And then you want to look for the rewards. What is the goal of this spending? Because it might be another way for you to achieve this same feeling without you having to spend. So the next part of it is you want to evaluate your triggers. And evaluating your triggers basically means that you want to evaluate what the emotional parts are that have you doing it. As I said before, maybe when you're sad or you're down, or maybe when you're not feeling good, when you're irritable or things like that, maybe that's what causes you to spend. That might be it. Think about those things. Some people are very emotional. When they get mad, they go buy because they feel like, oh, if I buy these new shoes, this will make me feel better. And yeah, it will. It'll make you feel better because it's really exciting. The whole process of you ordering, then you're stalking your package and you're waiting for your package to come in the mail. But I feel like the happiness from things like that is short-lived. I feel like it's short-lived. Maybe you do it when you are happy. Maybe you do it when you're happy about things, and that's when you go spend, because it's like a celebration. Like, let's celebrate. So I'm gonna celebrate. I'm gonna buy me some boots. Whatever the reason is, you have to evaluate those triggers and evaluate how they cause you to spend. Evaluate why you feel like spending is the reason or the best thing to do because you feel that way. And when you start to dig into that and think about those things, then you'll start to understand a better idea of why and how you got into the spending habits that you did. So, last session and this session, they both got pretty deep. The last one we discussed like who influences your spending. So that might be an area for you to look in. This time we're experiencing the different triggers we have ourselves, or like the people that are around us, the time of day. Is it the same time of day? Like, do you just spend on the weekends? Because if you just spend on the weekends and you work Monday through Friday, it might just be idle spending because you don't have anything to occupy yourself. And if that's the case, you can pick up a hobby. There are plenty of things you can do other than spend money, and your wallet will thank you. Now, self-rewarding behavior. So this right here, I've spoke about before, and it's basically the process of self-rewarding yourself. So you worked hard, you got this new project at work, you accomplished this, so you deserve these new shoes. You deserve this restaurant food, and you've worked hard. Or even when you work out, you're like, oh, I've worked out and I've been doing good. I deserve. So we kind of make up these reasons for ourselves and make this own self-rewarding merit system, and we decide that just because we did this, or because I work hard, or I had a long week, I deserve, like, no, stop, stop, stop. Stop figuring out reasons and convincing yourself why it's okay to spend money. It's more so of a mindset. You deserve to have your emergency fund. You deserve to be debt free. You deserve to just have money in your account. You deserve to be okay with seeing money in your account and not feeling like you have to spend it because the money is there and available. Those are what you deserve. And it's important for you to realize that you don't only have to reward yourself with things, you can reward yourself with other things. Reward yourself with some peace and quiet. Put the children to bed during their bedtime. If you have older children, it's even better because you can tell them from this time to this time, I'm not on duty. And reward yourself with peace of mind, I think, is a better reward, especially when you're on a specific financial goal. Now, when you're killing those goals and you're crushing them, then yes, reward yourself. You reach a certain goal, definitely. And we'll discuss some of the techniques that you can use and work through when you're trying to find ways to cut you off of spending, but actually still spend some, because I think it's important to give yourself rewards. But I'm speaking in general of someone who has an issue spending and they're trying to work on resolving that issue. And they are the type that they normally use, oh, I deserve this, as an excuse to spend. No. That's not a good habit. So what you want to work on is figuring out another way to reward yourself. Maybe you can make a list. Make a list. I know I'm always telling you write a list, but I'm telling you, when you write things down and you process them in your head, things just end up, for me personally, it really puts things out, lets me see the bigger picture, and it helps me process them because I get them out my head first off. So that's why I always have you all write something or have this worksheet, like, because I feel like you process it better when you get it out your head. When you have all these ideas and things swimming in your head, then sometimes it's hard to process those thoughts. So stop. You don't deserve to order out food when you know you have food at home. So that's another thing. It's like it's just a mentality that we bring. So it's important to start working on those habits and getting down to why we do that. Find new rewards for yourself. So this will complete this lesson. You do have homework for this lesson. It just basically just compiles all the questions that I've asked as it relates to analyzing your spending habits. And that's really the only homework you have to do for this lesson. The next lesson, we will discuss great ways to cut your spending, and then we'll explore different ways to know when to cut yourself off when it comes to spending. So thank you again, and I will see you the next lesson. All right, so that is done. Boop, boop, I gotta go see what video I'm supposed to delete. It's Friday. Happy Juneteenth. I'm gonna support some Black businesses today. But I do want to come and say that I actually, not just because of Juneteenth, I actually support Black businesses regularly. I normally try to look, especially if I have a service that I need, I normally try to look for a Black business first if they have one. Of course, some things I can't, but it's definitely something that I live by. It's important for us in the community. I teach personal finance, and I teach personal finance for a reason. It's something that we miss and that we don't get. And, a lot of these barbershops and different businesses and things they have property, but they're renting the property, so they don't own it. So they can easily be kicked out. Whereas they can own the property, have their barbershop, and then be making money off the tenants above and, produce additional income. Even though I know real estate is not for everybody, so some people are not interested in that. But in order for us to win, we have to have people that provide the knowledge to help people change their situation, and I want to be one of those peoples. And that's the reason why I started my business. That's the reason why I give out so much information and, free information, for that reason. Like, yes, I created a business. Yes, I want to make money, but I want my people to win. So I try to put out those information and that just stuff that we need. I try to find good articles to share good intel with you all, because we need to have lawyers, doctors, cell phone companies, general contractors. I myself in Chicago, I need a general contractor. I could possibly do some more things with my real estate investing if I had a general contractor that I know that I could trust, that's reliable. I mean, and that's another part of it too. Like, I'm not saying that just blindly support a business because it's black either. Of course, you expect to get good service, just like you expect to get good service from anywhere, like I do. But it's important just not to do it today. And I'm not claiming anybody did it only today, but that's just my little 2 cents that I'm offering, more like 25 cents or $2. But it is what it is. Um, but yeah, so I definitely work to try to find black people to work with. Even so my real estate journey, I'm looking for a building right now. My realtor is black. My attorney is black. My lender is Hispanic. So I try my best to work with my people, with black and brown people regularly, just to put more money back in our pockets. I know that they say that the dollar doesn't circulate as much in the black community, but I try my best to participate in putting some of my money there. So it's important to do. My friend made a really good post today that was basically talking about the same thing. Like, if we want to, it would be so dope. It would be so dope if we could buy the block. Like, me and my friend was trying to discuss this, and they're actually in this group the friend I'm talking about. If Because I've been busy, y'all. I have been humping. Like, y'all don't understand. During this COVID-19, I have been humping. Like, I have friends I have not talked to that I used to talk to every day, because I have been working so hard on getting these courses out to y'all. Like, July, I will be back to a human person and back to being able to consult and talk with people. So I definitely appreciate my friends' patience through this process. But I've been humping. But me and my friend were talking, and we were talking about if we could buy the block back. Like, I would love if the gold digging community, because when you go to involve, like, it was an article. I know I'm jumping all around, but you're gonna see it all ties together. It was an article about these guys. It was five of them, and they saved so much money for 2 years, and then at the end of that, they all bought a building together, and that's good. I think that is fabulous. I think that it's great. But I was going to try to do something like that, but the legal implications of doing something like that is a lot. So I literally went and I sat down and I talked to a lawyer to see about getting a group of people to do that. And I had a few people that was interested in it, that expressed interest in doing it. But the problem came in is actually implementing it, because you have to set up so many legal terms. Like, okay, so what percentage of vote is needed to make a decision? If you decide to sell the building, what percentage vote is needed to decide to sell? What have to do with the proceeds? Maybe you want to sell it and then do something else, but you can't, because you have so many other people involved in it, and you have to think about every possible scenario so you can put it. You all have to open a business together, put the money in the trust. Like, it's just so much that's according to it. It's a lot to do. It's a lot to do. So I thought, like, it would be dope, like, even if we did it from the gold digging community, not like this second, but maybe within the next 5 years, if we had groups of us that we picked. Like, if you had groups of people, like, okay, say I'm in Chicago, this group is in Detroit, and we work together. We have a realtor in the group, because I can easily just pull realtors in the group, or whatever resource we need in the group, and then we can have them. Okay, you are picking this block. Okay, you picking that block. Okay, you picking that block. So each group pick a certain block or neighborhood in their city, and then each person collectively get their self prepped and ready, and then bam, they go buy that block. Like, 5, 6 people buy property on the same exact block. And then in Detroit, so 5, 6 people buy property on the same exact block. Like, that would be so freaking dope to me if we could get together and do something like that. And I wouldn't mind spearheading that, because each person's property would be their own individual property. Like, nobody would be helping each other. Everybody would have their own property. But it would just be collectively in the same neighborhood. Like, and that's how you change a neighborhood, because then all of you all are landlords in the same area. You all can work together. You all can create the neighborhood watch for that neighborhood. You can attend the alderman meetings for that neighborhood and decide to make change and get stuff done. I feel like that would be dope. Then you got to have the financial educator, of course, me. You got to have the attorneys to teach people how to do everything legally. Like, I would love if that's what this community really built up to. And you choose wherever you wanted to do it. And maybe you don't want to do real estate, but whatever it is that you want to do, that we will have those resources and viable, reliable people in here. And I'm not saying people coming in here and just working for free. I know I get out a lot of information. I don't expect everybody to do as I do, but I'm just saying they will get paid and they get compensated. But just to know that you have a reliable person that's vetted in here, that somebody has worked with, and they know that they're a good resource. Just that alone, they will be getting money. You're leveling up, your career or whatever it is your endeavor is, and it just builds a whole community. So somebody also sent me a message and asked me, do we only have to talk about finances in here? And I'm like, no, that's why I called it the Gold Diggers community, because I wanted it to be known. It's about goals. We celebrate all goals in here. And that's why I also created the Freestyle Friday. So Freestyle Friday, you can post about whatever you want to post, as long as it's not offensive or rude, no nudity, anything like that. Other than that, feel free, post it, live it up. So that's all I have for you today. You all can have a fabulous Friday. Happy Juneteenth. Adios. Let me see something. Da, 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 da. Let me go. Do, do, do. Da. Let me go. Okay. You all have a good one. Bye-bye.